So that's what we're gonna rock and roll, and part 4 I guess today, part 4, and we're gonna take it on the part 4 here. I announced my fellow sister, I say, because I can still relate to my brothers and sisters here across the 63 as brothers and sisters, cousins, and all who come to join us. And you know, I just advised that it was very slippery there when I came down, and that's why we gotta rock and roll it with that. And here's gonna be to the mountain part 4 today. I guess due to the weather conditions we're gonna have to make 4 parts instead of usually one long 3-hour one. So as we go to the mountain, that's where we're gonna get drilling, and so we're gonna get on that go, you know, for the firefighters, butchers, and bakers, nurses, doctors, electricians, plumbers, and all those on the rock and roll. Gotta salute the Canadian Armed Forces, you know. Gotta paint that red, and let's get the Dragon Army SSD, and my focus towards the firefighters there for some loving for the firefighters, and the electricians, the plumbers, all those involved. We're gonna wait to cross on the red side of things, and that's how we're gonna get drilling on that, and that's how we're gonna get drilling on the love side of things, and that's how we're gonna get it for the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, and the nurses, the doctors, those plumbers, electricians. Gotta send some loving. Firefighters going up, make some loving to them, you know. Our butchers, our bakers, our nurses, first responders, and that's how we gotta get drilling here. You know, let's see if you back up prudently. Be patient. That's how we gotta get doing, and gotta watch it here, you know. Cross the street prudently. That's what it is, and gonna go around it, and that's how we gotta get doing for the drill. And got 6 seconds, plenty of time, I guess, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it is, you know. For the left, for the right, and here we're for Canada. United States, the armed forces there. Gotta give some salutations there for them, and gotta give it for this beautiful field where I see a little bit of a butterfly. Hey, butterfly, survived the storms. Big storms, just big, powerful storm just passed. Big thunder, like a few times. Just, I didn't see the lightning, but I heard the thunder. So this is part 4 to the mountain, top of the Belvedere, where we just finished discussing a little bit of Asperger's. Please support fellow Aspies. We suffer a lot from friendship loss, friends with benefits only from now on. And of course, pledge your allegiance to our family. And we are a tiny, small 0.44%, less than 1%, less than half of a percent of a community, but it's a high unemployment rate and suicidal rate and tendencies. I suffered being suicidal, being depressed, and no longer. Regular physical exercise and gratitude, couple double trouble, gratitude and regular physical exercise have make a great deal, you know, because civilization is a privilege. We got the 63rd here, which we're gonna fuse Canada, United States via public-private partnership and fuse the 7th United States Armed Forces, the Dragon Army united with all the security public services, North American civilizational complex, the Dragon Army, my dream, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. As I go to the mountain now, I'm just gonna put everything in the backpack because of course the rain is no more, so we're gonna get on the backpack and then we're gonna go, and that's what we're gonna get doing, and gonna put it in and go all the way to the top here, my second home, the Belvedere Conjurat, with the sun now shining powerfully, and that's what we're gonna need to be doing here, you know. Gonna get that sunshine, and gonna get thank you, my anonymous friend bought me secondhand this one, and it really protects, you really protects, you know. So we're gonna put it in the backpack, and it's really helpful. It's really helpful, but now it's sunny, so no need to keep it on because I'm about to get that sweat because I think it's about 25 degrees. So we're just gonna bag it up, put it in the backpack, and that's where we're gonna go drilling all the way. We're gonna take that lettuce because otherwise it's gonna crush the lettuce, which we have, and then we got some radishes, and bag it up. There we go. We're gonna bag it, and here we are at the we are on the top of the mountain, Three Peak Mountain, Mount Royal proper, and saluting the firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses. And we had a very powerful storm, quick, intense storm. It was quite, at one point it was just pouring rain, and you could hear the thunder, and probably some lightning somewhere, probably some rainbow here, rainbow dragon right here. So we need rainbows in the sky, but I'm a rainbow dragon myself, you know, still can spit that fire nonetheless. Always grateful, thankful. Although financially stressed, struggling, my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, and got food and got coffee, and that's all we gotta get that rock and roll, you know. Got rent, paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, paid some coffee yesterday, I bought a different one because the one that I used to buy increased a lot. So here we go. Now we got the backpack, which is on the heavy, and you know, from here to my place I'm still gonna have to drill it in long hours, and it's gonna be a long march today. Yesterday did more than 6 hours, 6 hours and 27 minutes today. So here we are, ready to rock and roll, auctioning my underwear, the hat, and everything that I'm wearing. $1 million to give half to my anonymous friend. That's what I'm auctioning. Is Pro Labor and Love Universal Revolutionary Centrist. Pro Labor and Love Universal Revolutionary Centrist for the firefighters. Saw 4 firefighter trucks already today. So you gotta be on that prudent side, and you see we got that beautiful clouds there. So I guess sometimes we need a little bit of storm, you know. Saluting the Canadian Armed Forces. I served in past life for the RCMP and twice in the United States Armed Forces. You just gotta read that Three Glass Darkly by George Patton, one of my favorite poems, and it's called Three Glass Darkly. I write a little bit of poetry myself, rock and roll, and always saluting the nurses, the doctors, firefighters, plumbers, electricians, welders, and all those construction workers. Stay safe, you know. Safety is important with liberty and my work here. You know, they go together, and you know, I gotta say to the Marines and the National Guard deployed, because I served in the United States in past lives, 156 years apart, you know. Sportsmanship. Gotta watch it from here, from Hawk Island like a hawk, across the 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, across the 63. We gotta get no foul on the place, you know, no excessive use of force, and warnings. And my brothers and sisters, also undocumented migrants, undocumented migrants, undocumented workers, and / legal aliens, you know. We gotta work to give some amnesty, to build 44 tunnels. We gotta give some amnesty in order to build those 44 tunnels, and that's how we gotta get doing here, you know, to build those 44 tunnels. And super important that we get to building those 44 tunnels across the North American Collective. And here we got a beautiful flowers. That's how we gotta get doing with that. A little bit of those beautiful flowers there for the rock and roll, and that's how we gotta get doing, you know. Little beautiful flowers, and that's how we gotta get on the love side of things, and we gotta get on the love. And sometimes it's for the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and the doctors and the firefighters and the plumbers and those electricians and those welders, the truckers on the road, and all those involved, you know, in the production and distribution of food, you know. We gotta be thinking about them. We really gotta be thinking about them, and we gotta be thinking about them a little bit, and that's how we gotta get that drill, you know. Always for the firefighters, always for the plumbers, and as I'm calling for the daycare workers changing diapers, I got a lot to be grateful for. Although financially stressed, struggling, my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, and got food and coffee, and you see a little bit of flora down there's my anonymous friend, calls them sergeants, the sergeant in the group. Look at those beauties. Sergeant. You're watching us, eh? You're watching us. I guess we gotta watch nature. That's why I call for, please don't pollute when you come here, you know. Don't pollute. So we gotta get doing, no pollution there, and so we gotta get on that love, and don't pollute, you know, when you come here. Don't pollute. Make sure you don't pollute. Put it in the garbage, put it in the recycling, you know, and that's what you gotta do. And we got some rocks there. We got some rocks here, and that's how we gotta get drilling on that, and that's how we gotta get going on some love side of things, and we gotta get it on the procuring, and that's how we gotta get a little bit of that love, you know. Here we are for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, and the doctors, the firefighters, electricians, plumbers. And see, this has to be the lost and found, I guess. Is it the key? Oh, there's no key. It's a bit dirty, so I'm gonna bring it to the lost. Healthy brains, healthy lives, yes. Via exercise, I would add. I love the red and the white, the left and the right. Healthy brains, healthy lives, yes. Our brains, Aspie brains, are healthy, but it's not because it's not a mental illness, Asperger's. It's just that we are divergent and we have brain mutations, but that's why socially it could be seen, you know, we have more difficulties, we're less able in the social sphere aspects and the way we communicate because we see the world differently. But when it comes to our special interest, which I'm going to focus on, which mine is geopolitics, my special trinity, geopolitics 24/7, sports and fitness, dancing is my favorite sport, and rock and roll. So as I see this one here, says healthy brains, healthy brains and healthy lives. That's what it says on this. See, healthy brains equals healthy lives. I agree. So exercise, that's why I have been and will call for the mass financing of citizens to work out, train, exercise, and parallel to fitness, also gratitude, being grateful. Gratitude is great for mental health, for brain health, and for, of course, brain health and mental health, you know, it all goes together. Mental health and healthy lives, healthy brains goes hand in hand. Goes together with an active lifestyle coupled with gratitude. Being grateful is super important. Gratitude. I can't stress enough the importance of gratitude and regular fitness activities. Now I'm happy, joyous, contentness, wellness goes with a healthy brain, you know, and I have my scars, you know, I discussed them openly on my androgynous clit, dick, on my sometimes rocket a few times a day goes that rocket penis clitoris, because I'm 50-50 man, woman, and I got a woman in me, I guess. I got a woman from priestess of ancient Egypt, and due to the many priestesses of the goddess from past lives, I worked to build a forgotten goddess temple, but, you know, I have scars on the body and even on my special privates, androgynous clit, who sometimes converts, goes rocket, solid feel with that on occasion. But, you know, I am androgynous pansexual, but, you know, healthy and being physically active and grateful at the same time is something which is super good for the mind, for the body, for the health, you know. That is just something which I gotta practice as much as I can, parallel to gratitude, and when you work out, train, exercise, regular hydration. And of course, Asperger's is not a mental illness. It is a neurological mental divergent condition, which makes me, of course, predisposed to those special interests, and due to these special interests, our brains have these mutations. So there's no medication for Asperger's. You know, you cannot medicate Asperger's. It's not something which can be cured, but of course, Asperger's, unfortunately, we suffer from extra and additional. It's high unemployment, between 80 and 90. Between 60 and 80. I'm gonna wait a bit before I drink, and also to clear the pipes. You know, just wait a bit, clear the pipes, and kind of hydrate and go to the top. But Asperger's, you know, is this way we communicate sometimes socially. We have trouble with social interactions and maintaining long-term friendships and friends, you know. Friends with benefits only from now on, you know. But when it comes to our special interests, we can excel a lot, and I excel in geopolitics because I predicted what's happening now back in October 2019. I have proof of work. Let's hydrate, and I created a workout training program system to consequently go and, of course, be in a manner similar to a World War III scenario, which is unfolding now. World War III might commence, any minute, any second, any day, and financial collapse as well. So hydrate, HYDRAT. Oh yeah, that was so good. That was really good. That's how we gotta get doing with that. And here I gotta show a little bit. Yeah, you can put it in here or put it up, otherwise give it up. Here is, you like hockey? See how he was holding two drinks. Here's Jean Beliveau on 11th of February commemoration. Scored his 500 goal. But in English is goal, a goal. So this is a piece of Montreal history here if you're interested. 11th of February 1971, I guess. It's Jean Beliveau, famous hockey player from Quebec, and these are the skates. Jean Beliveau's skates are here, and here's when he scored his 500 goal. That's a big achievement. Not a lot of people achieve to score 500 goals in the NHL. I'm not sure exactly how many. I maybe gonna check how many exactly. More than 500 or 500 in the NHL's history, which of course is a long time. And now we're hoping for Edmonton Oilers to bring the cup back to Canada. We're certainly hoping, and gonna see if there's somebody here. Otherwise, I can put it here. There's usually lost and found here. You put it here, and we're bringing upstairs and closed for the day. Oh, it's closed for the day, so I'm gonna bring it up. If it's closed for the day, I'm gonna bring it to the other side. So we're gonna get drilling with that, and now I'm gonna put some glasses on, because actually I don't need, because I'm gonna go in the park there, and that's how we're gonna get going on the park side of things. And so we're gonna go get it there. Always love to come here, my second home. It's just a beautiful place, and that's how we're gonna get doing on that beautiful place with that. And that's how we're gonna get doing with the XYZ things, and that's how we gotta get doing on the love side of things. Gotta get doing on the love, to get it on the doer side of things for now, and we're gonna get it on the other side of the transmission. So that's how we gotta get loving with that, and gotta get doing on the love side of things, to get it on the doer side of things. That's how we're gonna get drilling, We're gonna go by the side there and go by the other side where we love to go in. Actually, you can go around about different sides here, Just gonna let my main out and make sure that we get it on doers and the butchers and the bakers and the nurses, the doctors and firefighters, the plumbers and the electrician, all those involved in the production, distribution of food. They gotta get it for them. And here in the wilderness, gonna let my main out and auctioning some here, auctioning this for $1 million. Thank you, my anonymous friend who gifted this beautiful one. And the pants and the underwear, the socks. Socks is gonna be last day for these socks because they're ripped, but other socks every time I wear, all socks that I'm wearing to the mountain or to my long marches around about Montreal, Hoggot and the river, I'm gonna auction them. So again, Asperger's is not a mental illness. It is a neurological mental divergent condition. Makes us predisposed to those special interests, and those special interests we can be super intense, super focused, super concentrated about. And of course, my special interests are the Holy Trinity: geopolitics. I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical honest theorist, and sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport, and rock and roll with that. So pledge your allegiance, family, our family, and friends with benefits only. Support the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom here on the mountain as we go on Mount Royal proper, one of the 3 peaks of Mount Royal proper, 3 peaks of Mount Royal. Westmount and Outremont. That's what we gotta get doing, and that's what we gotta get doing on the go. And let's build a 4. I will to build a 444 on the Canadian-US border, because I've been and will continue to challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border, and have been since 2018 when Granddaddy Trump, I would have voted for Biden. But we're not enemies, and I gotta make a statement for all the leaders of Canada and the United States, which is a constant. The answer is only yes to this following geopolitical statement. There's no maybe or no. So this is a geopolitical constant, just like the pi number. The pi number? The pi number is actually a symbol, the type of like an N, the pi symbol, which represents a number related to the circle, the circumference, and the diameter. So it's always 3.1416, 3.1415, continuing on infinitum. And the following statement is the same. It was in the 20th century, it is today, and it will be in the 21st century, at least in the coming many decades, you know. So our main interest, and vice versa, Canada, United States, and for United States in regards to Canada, for Canada in regards to the United States, our main foreign policy objective, that's geopolitical strategy, is to have the best economic, social, financial, sports, industrial, cultural, defense, security, etc., relations with each other. Canada, United States. Canadians, let's be honest, the king is absent. It's time for the Republic. It's time for fusing the North and the South, basically. Canada, through North, strong and free, with the land of the free, home of the brave. Add some loving in that, please. Otherwise, I don't want it. Add some loving, somebody making love, because I saw somebody holding hands earlier, kissing and hugging earlier, so that's a good rock and roll with that. And I saw I'm gonna say my children, because I don't have children really, but the youth, and the children, the youth are innocent. So earlier today I saw a happy, joyous event, and children from the daycare were holding hands, and earlier youth in their 16s, 17s, I guess graduating high school, they were in the rain, happy, smiling at me. They had some faces, and somebody there, you know, were my aunties and uncles, and you know, we gotta get some loving, and we gotta get some amnesty, and we need my DRT theory. We actually, it's an emergency. The situation has gotten so dire for many, economically, financially, that we need the DRT. We need the debt refusion theory, and here we have, you know, my fellow uncles and aunties, and holding all of those hands together and making some of that loving, and that always brings me a smile when I see my fellow aunties and uncles and all ALL who come to join us here in the kingdom, the 63. The empire of the 63, the 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories. And you know, as I sing for the boys and girls in blue, security forces on force, I also got to sing that rock and roll for my brothers and sisters who take their second chances, third chances, and do their criminal rehabilitation. And vice versa, we're individuals, and I got to be watching my brothers and sisters in the uniform, you know, in the uniform, because in Los Angeles, California, Marines and National Guard, and sportsmanship conduct, sportsmanship. That's why we need to create the 7th U.S. Army, joint with Canada, get rid of the border, create a common currency, and create the Dragon Army, aka North American Integrated SSD Legion, for security, service, and defense. For security, service, and defense. For security, service, and defense. Based on my philosophies, and of course implement Operation Northern Scorpio and my total mobile defense theory, the TMDT. I cannot discuss it overly much because it's binational Canada, United States, national security matters for both. And to be honest, my main concern now is that foreign outside powers and influences are of course interfering and financing rioters and looters and criminal underworld, criminal elements from might be, I'm not saying yes 100%, but as an independent geopolitical analyst and tourist who knows geopolitics, specialize in 20th century geopolitics and Cold War geopolitics, I know that we have those vulnerabilities, just like I had to learn the hard way certain things, that me as an Aspie, in certain social things and elements, I have my vulnerabilities. Well, can be very vulnerable aspects in certain things which we have, and certain things and vulnerabilities which we have. You know, that's why I gotta send some thank you to my anonymous friend for the book called Appreciating Asperger's Syndrome. Appreciating Asperger's Syndrome, because we can be very weird and awkward and sometimes direct and offensive, and that's what it is with that. Sometimes we can be direct and offensive and direct with that, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, you know. So that's what I gotta get doing with the love side of things. And here we got a little bit of justice, you know, and second chances. Myself, I've got it. You know, I almost died in 2020 February during COVID, and almost got lost, I guess, when I was bloodied up, when I was attacked by surprise. It fell, hit my head on the concrete, you know. Fell, hit my head on the concrete. My head was hit on the concrete. I had a dislocated right arm. I went to the Jewish gentleman. Was cracked back and was put on some meds. it's kind of like in a coma state for a few days, like coma like state for a few days. And I used to live in a very moldy and underground prison-like cell, and I guess I served my time. And since 2017, summer 2017, when I crossed Canada coast to coast, ocean to ocean, I'm no longer depressed and suicidal, because tourism and crossing Canada made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, who are family, also my brothers and sisters in the USA, across the 50 states included, for the 63, 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, for the 63 of the Empire, the Kingdom. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Let's create the SSD Legion for total security, total service, total defense. And based on the total mobile defense theory, when we add a S, the theory becomes put into practice and action, and thus when we add the S, it becomes a system. It gets put into practice and action. So that's what we gotta get doing with that, and that's what we gotta get on that rock and roll. So that's what we got, and that's what we do, Here we are. Gonna discuss the DRT now. Super important that I discuss the DRT, the debt refusion theory. Super important that I discuss the DRT theory, the debt refusion theory. Super important that I discuss the DRT theory, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit. And that's how we gotta get doing with that. And so we gotta get doing, because we're of course in an emergency situation where we have reached record levels of debt. Private debt has reached record levels, and public debt, due to the increases during COVID, of course we are on the verge of a public financial collapse, which can happen today. It can happen today, because I left in the afternoon, and by the time I get back at home, I'm not listening to the news. I'm just meditating on the current Los Angeles events. And my concern is also that foreign powers, XYZ, which have the resources and the capabilities to do external from the outside to finance and take advantage of the underworld criminal organization groups to foment unrest, and take also advantage of our vulnerabilities, our diversities, our openness, our culture, in the North American Collectif, very much similar. And that's how we gotta get doing with that. So you have to be aware of that, and we have to be knowledgeable, and we have to get on the go here for my fellow citizen. Gotta get out of the way and make sure you go slowly, because it's slippery. And I know this place, my second home, and always gotta watch out and let people know that if they venture out here, the branches are falling constantly, especially after a storm. Now we're more vulnerable now for falling branches than we usually are. So prudence if you come here after a storm, or even regular hours. We got branches like this. See, this is what I was saying. See this branch? Look, this fell down. See. This fell down from here. He could fall. There's so many branches fall every day here. Sometimes I toss them to the side, and other people toss them to the side throughout the day, So now I will not tardy, but I'm going to discuss the DRT, the debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, Universal Exchange, because we have to get serious about it, and we really have to implement it, We really have to implement it. The DRT, that is, the debt refusion theory. We have to implement it across the 63 Canada United States joints. So what is it? It stands for D debt R refusion T theory. Why do I make the statement that it has to be implemented and is the solution as I walk through this mud here? Because we have reached record-breaking credit card debt and public debt, credit card debt and public card debt. So both credit card debt and public card debt, we have reached, of course, record-breaking credit card and debt. I don't have credit cards myself. I have a bank credit line, 10,000. I got 10,000, so I got that 10,000 in debt me. But of course, I don't have other debt than the 10,000 related thereof. So that is just my prudence, which I need to make and need to be doing it. But other people have maxed out credit cards, and my interest is 10.44%, so below 11. So due to this convergence for both Canada and the United States of a high indebtedness in the public and the private, and especially the growing interest rates, gotta double check the numbers, but it has grown a lot in terms of percentage, of course, and that's the problem of the interest paid on the public debt. So that takes away from services. That's why we see already cuts in the public budget. Reduction of by thousands, for example, in Canada, Immigration Canada jobs. So of course, we have to take that into consideration. Consequently, we're gonna have to reduce the spending. We're gonna have to reduce the spending. We're gonna have to cut in the budget. So, because it's not sustainable since February 2020, of course, due to the coronavirus, COVID, which I had, and I survived myself, and I survived myself with the coronavirus, and that's what it is now, and that's what we gotta get doing with that, for the coronavirus, So having survived it, that's what we gotta get doing with that, the coronavirus. That's what we gotta get doing on the rock and roll, the coronavirus, and something which I survived, So meaning that I survived it, and I had COVID, back before, and I survived it, and here I am. Got triple vaxxed. For me, it was like death, pestilence, and disease. For me, it was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was really like death, pestilence, and disease, So that's what it is, and that's what I got consequently here. And this is my second home, and this is where I love to be. This is where I love to be, and to hang out, and to love, and to manufacture, and to see people loving, and hugging, and kissing, and working out, and training, and exercising, and doing all the things of nature, civilization here at top of the mountain. But again, we're on the verge of a public collapse. So Uncle Connie worked in finance banking. I asked, what are we gonna cut? 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 The RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mountain Police, prisons, services, sanitation services, healthcare, national defense. He realized it's not sustainable. That's the problem. We cannot sustain the current levels of the interest has gone too much in the past 5 years, while our parallel GDP we had not extensive FDI, meaning foreign direct investment and inflow of capital from outside in Canada. 85+, more than 85% of our exports go to the United States. We have to be geopolitically realistic. The king is absent, It's an absentee landlord. The king to me is an absentee landlord. The king to me is an absentee landlord, and me, you and us, farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, firefighters, plumbers, electricians, and all who come to join us, those flipping some burgers, firefighters, welders, and nurses, daycare workers, changing diapers, and bus drivers, and plumbers, and construction workers, welders. It's been us, me, Aspie, who had several jobs, several employments, and who's an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst interiors who paradoxically survived and lives with so many scars and trauma and retrograde amnesia, memory loss, and but not recent. Like if I go back 7, 8, 9 years, I'm okay. Then if I go to the 10th and after 11, it kind of gets blurry and blackout. And I lived, like I said, I was attacked by surprise and fell, hit my head, and lived in that moldy underground tight, small prison-like cell. So I survived, and that's what we got, and that's what we got to rock and roll it here, and that's what we're gonna get doing with that, and that's what we gotta get doing on the convergence, and we have to implement the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So what is the DRT? And again, we have no choice. That's the problem. We're in such a dire financial, both public and private, because the private citizens are indebted as well in a major way. So much debt in the public and the private that it has increased, that we have no choice basically but the implementation of my theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. My DRT theory includes also monetary integration theory. So inside my debt refusion theory, is integrated. Monetary integration theory, which was a theory, which financial theory, which was implemented in the European Union. So basically, in my DRT, debt refusion theory was implemented. The monetary integration theory, which I'm making reference that it's integrated in my DRT, standing for debt refusion theory, was the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union, of course. And that's what it is with that, and that's what they gotta get doing there. They did it in the 90s. The Germans, Italians, French, and Asiatic countries, they destroyed the national central banks, and they no longer have a national central bank. They have the ECB, the European Central Bank, which is of course a multinational central bank. They no longer have the Germans, French, and many other countries no longer have national central banks. So inside my DRT is integrated that theory. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, including my $10,000, your $10,000, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and that's all we're gonna do. Take all the public and the private debt, including my $10,000. We're gonna convert it into US dollars, into US dollars. We're gonna convert it into United States dollars. So we're gonna add it all together. All that money is gonna be integrated, and of course convert all the public private debt of Canada into US dollars, add it up. So add all the public private debt of Canada, convert it into US dollars, add it with the US, because my DRT theory has to be implemented binationally, and it can be extended throughout the complex of the North American civilizational complex, of which Mexico, Cuba, Haiti is part of it. And my theory for the ATT for Haiti, which I've discussed in the past, for of course to make a resolution and integrate and make some deals for resolving of North American civilizational complex conflicts by channeling aggression and reforms, and for Haiti, for example, to be the AAT initiative, the artistic, athletic, and tourism initiative, to make it a special economic zone for artistic, athletic, and tourism, or art, athletic, and tourism community, for art, athletic, and tourism community. So that's what we're gonna get doing with that, and so we gotta get doing on the go. So the DRT, we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars, That's what we're gonna convert it, all the public and the private debt. So all the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. All the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. So we're gonna convert it into US dollars, and that's what we're gonna be doing, We're gonna convert it into US dollars, and that's what we're gonna get doing with that. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, and that's how we're gonna do it. So my debt, your debt, our debt, all the debt, all the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. All the public and the private debt, we're gonna convert it into US dollars. We're gonna add it all up. All the public and the private debt, we're gonna add it all up. Add it with the US public private debt. So add it all up. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All that money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. Oh yeah, right here in the sun. Oh, I feel so good. So again, I'm going to discuss this. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt, my debt, your debt, all the public and the private debt, my $10,000, your $10,000, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, converted all the public private debt of Canada, all added together first, my 10,000 yours, and coast to coast, ocean to ocean, all the public private debt, added all up, then converted into US dollars, and then added with the US. All that money, we're gonna finance a new central bank and create a new currency called the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange unit. The universal exchange unit. So we're gonna create the universal exchange unit based on the value of the US dollar. based on the value of the US dollar, we're going to create the universal exchange unit, universal exchange unit, universal exchange unit, and that's how we're going to create the universal exchange unit. So we're going to create the universal exchange unit. We're going to add an interest rate level. We're going to maximize it at 10%. So it's not going to be able to be more than 10%, more than 10%. It could be 3.33, 7.18, 4.18, 9.3, whatever the case may be, below 10%. So this new currency is going to have the value of the US dollar. So this UE Universal Exchange Unit is going to be created, of course, and done, and it's going to be the Universal Exchange Unit. That's what it's going to be. And of course, we're going to reconstruct the North American civilizational complex, the aqueducts, the infrastructure, build the 44. We're going to build the 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war. That's how we're gonna get doing. Build those North American Imperial People's Coliseum, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, and mass finance citizens fitness activities, mass finance tourism, build more hydroelectric dams. Hydroelectric dams, go Hydro Quebec, go, gotta salute, because builders of the past between 1947 and 1991, you know, the marches for them as well. So that's what we're gonna need to be doing, and that's how we're gonna need to be consequentially on the awareness of the things, and that's how we're gonna get a little bit of that butterfly flying and getting a little bit on the go and making a little bit of that transition east, west, north, and south, and that's how we're gonna get drilling for that, and that's how we're gonna get on that loving side of things, and that's how we're gonna get doing for the drills, you know, for the firefighters, for the plumbers, the butchers, and the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, and the electricians, all the firefighters, you know. That's how we're gonna get drilling with that, and we're gonna get it for the doers, the bakers, the butchers, the nurses, and the plumbers, the electricians, and that's how we gotta get rock and rolling, you know. It's an emergency scenario, so we gotta get serious about that business. That business is serious, and we are on the verge of a public financial collapse, you know. It can happen in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead, and that's what we're gonna go do, you know. The butchers, the bakers, the electricians, and the plumbers, the nurses, and the doctors, and the firefighters, and all those involved, you know, in the production and distribution of food, and that's what we gotta get doing, you know, to get on that rock and roll with that and be on the plateau and be on the go. And that's what we gotta get doing for the left, for the right, for the butchers, for the bakers, and for the bakers, for the butchers, for the lovers, and for all those involved in the production, distribution of food. And that's how we gotta get doing with that. And so we gotta get rock and rolling now. The DRT, that true fusion theory, for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit. That's what we gotta be doing, you know. Creation of the universal exchange unit. That's what we gotta be doing, and it's not a gamble. It's a science behind this. It comes from my curse of geopolitics, from my curse turning into a blessing, being that I'm an Aspie and have a special interest geopolitics 24/7 to study the analysis thereof. And of course, when you study geopolitics, you have to have an awareness, a knowledge of finance, public finance, public financial matters. It goes hand in hand with geopolitics. So we're going to build a lot of things in public, private. We're going to finance people to work out, train, exercise. We're going to build those 44 tunnels across the 63, the 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories in case of a thermonuclear war, and give some amnesty, you know, to the undocumented migrants and illegal aliens. And we're going to do a great census. We have to do a great census, and we have to do a great census, a North American census, and of course, a great North American census. Gonna have to do a great North American census. Canada and United States across the 63, create a common passport, get rid of the border, and create the 2 complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The Dragon Army, aka North American Integrated SSD Legion, Security Service and Defense Legion, and based on the new 911 protocols that have written protocols for total security, total service, total defense a few years ago, and mostly during the COVID protocols. So most of my work revised in the past 7 years. Most of my work that I relate to and the philosophies date for 7 years, and plus after I got out of that depression in 2017 summer, and of course also a lot of revisions during COVID, as we are now June 10th 2025, and here I am, pledge your allegiance, and That's how I gotta work. And my dream, the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership, fundamentally a call for public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex, a public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex. That's what it is, and that's how we gotta get doing with that. And saluting the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, and the plumbers, the electricians, all those involved in the production, distribution of food. Pledge your allegiance to our family. And every time I come here on the mountain, I'm so joyous, happy, and content, and encourage all to work out. And we're going to be able to mass finance that, coupled with tourism as well. And you know, it's time for that French because we're in la belle province. So, put it up for my French. Hey, bienvenue, on est sur la montagne. Québécois et Québécoises, il y a eu de la tonnerre, des coups de tonnerre sévères, puis ça a tourné un peu méchant, je vais dire. C'est pas méchant dans le sens de qu'il y a eu un danger, mais que ça a commencé à pleuvoir, puis il y a eu de la tonnerre. J'ai entendu peut-être 11 fois la tonnerre, puis ça a frappé fort de l'eau, puis là, je regardais pour les arcs-en-ciel. Ben, je vois pas d'arc-en-ciel, mais vous savez que moi, je suis le dragon arc-en-ciel, là, messieurs, madame, artiste, athlète, bien sûr, artiste, athlète que vous soyez, puis je vous encourage à faire de l'entraînement physique. Et bien sûr, vous savez que moi, j'ai l'Asperger, je suis autiste hautement fonctionnel. Ben, il y a eu encore un débat, mais il y a une fusion de l'Asperger avec l'autisme hautement fonctionnel. Puis nous, les Aspi, les Asperger, il n'y a pas beaucoup d'Asperger dans le monde comme moi. Moins d'1% de la population, moins de 0,5%, c'est 0,44. Hein? 0,44, c'est 0,44% de la population, bien sûr, qu'on a l'Asperger. Et moi-même, je fais partie de cette petite communauté. Mais j'ai mes forces, mais nous, les Aspi, malheureusement, la manière, des fois, qu'on communique socialement avec les gens en société, des fois, c'est on a un peu de la misère, de la difficulté dans ces choses, interactions sociales. C'est pour ça qu'on n'a pas bien des amis. Hein. Puis moi, je veux juste des amis avec bénéfice. Je suis androgène, pansexuel, je fais partie de la communauté LGBTQ, je suis un philosophe, un artiste, un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique. Et bien sûr, j'adore le rock'n'roll, fait que le rock'n'roll, c'est 24/24, l'entraînement physique, je me repose aussi, hein. Je suis pas le soleil le pape, je suis pas le soleil le pape d'en haut, là, mais je vais me reposer un peu quand même. Mais bien sûr, c'est le rock'n'roll, puis l'analyse et théorie en géopolitique. Et bien sûr, l'analyse et théorie en géopolitique, c'est toujours quelque chose que je le fais constamment. Puis là, ça m'inquiète, pour vous dire la vérité, là, ça m'inquiète un peu la situation actuelle aux États-Unis qui se déroule avec le déploiement des Marines. La garde nationale, au début, ouais, c'est pas précédent, il y a un précédent, mais les Marines. Puis vu que je suis un analyste théoricien indépendant en géopolitique, encore une fois, qui a prévu, hein, j'ai prévu la situation qui se déroule en ce moment dans le monde. Il faut que je le dise, en 2019, entre octobre et novembre, j'ai prévu la situation qui se déroule en ce moment. La situation qui se déroule en ce moment. Je l'ai prévu, la situation actuelle, qui se déroule en ce moment, tu sais. Je l'ai prévu, tu sais, la situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment, à travers le monde, parce que moi, c'est ça que... Nous, les Aspi, les Aspergers, on a des intérêts spéciaux, aussi connus comme des intérêts obsessifs. Et ces intérêts-là, ça préoccupe la plupart de notre temps. Fait que moi, chaque jour, je fais des heures, soit le matin, l'après-midi, au soir, des heures d'analyse et théorie en géopolitique. Et j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. C'est sûr, pas exactement par chaque détail, mais d'une manière générale. J'ai prévu qu'il y aura une conflagration internationale. J'ai prévu ça en 2019, en octobre, en novembre. J'ai la preuve, j'ai la vidéo, c'est ça qui se passe avec moi chaque jour. J'analyse parce que les événements de la politique mondiale, internationale, de la géopolitique, ça se passe au quotidien. Des nouvelles relations qui se passent au quotidien, bien sûr. Fait que moi, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. En 2019, ça fait déjà, hein. Puis moi-même, je dois dire ma gratitude, j'ai survécu la COVID. Puis même si je vis un stress financièrement, je suis en crise financière, mais les Aspi, malheureusement, le taux de sans-emploi, chômage, c'est 11 fois plus que la plupart des gens. C'est 11 fois plus que la plupart des gens. 11 fois plus que la plupart des gens. 11 fois plus que la plupart des gens. La plupart des gens, 11 fois plus que la plupart des gens, c'est ça le problème chez les Asperger, puis ça en fait du bien quand je vois des jeunes, mais en couple ou s'aimer, même les vieux de tous âges, là, s'aimer puis se tenir par la main, puis des choses comme ça, parce que c'est ça les choses, bien sûr, que je dois le faire. Puis moi, même, j'ai pas besoin de beaucoup de soutien, c'est juste que nous, les Aspergers, on a de la misère dans les choses. Des fois, on peut dire les choses directement. On peut offenser, on peut être brusque directement, mais c'est pas parce qu'on veut offenser, c'est juste la manière qu'on est. Mais moi-même, je suis un individu aussi, là. Fait que j'aime ça offrir service, faire service, mais je suis moi-même un individu. Fait que je veux quand même offrir service, Je veux quand même offrir service, Je veux quand même offrir service, puis c'est des choses comme ça que je dois le faire, bien sûr, dans cet environnement, d'avoir une affaire, d'affaires, puis XYZ, YZ, là, c'est des choses-là que je dois le faire, c'est des choses-là que je dois le faire. That's it, that's all avec ça. Donc, c'est ça la condition de l'Asperger's, l'autisme. Fait que là, je ne vais pas tarder, vous retrouver ça pour dire, bien sûr que moi, je fais appel. Je suis quelqu'un qui... Je suis mystique aussi. Fait que moi, je crois à la réincarnation. Je crois à la réincarnation aussi. Fait que les réincarnations, là, des fois, je suis né homme, femme. C'est pour ça, maintenant, vous avez la balance androgyne, 50-50, je le suis. Homme, madame, messieurs, madame. Mais, bien sûr, pour que je le fasse, moi aussi, dans ce compromis, parce que j'ai vécu aux États-Unis, j'ai servi 2 fois dans 2 guerres de la même armée des États-Unis, dans 156 ans à part, par exemple. C'était une longue durée, là, 156 ans à part. Puis, bien sûr, le général de l'armée, George Patton, il a écrit un de mes poèmes préférés que je préfère, ce qui parle que lui-même, il croyait à des réincarnations. Il parlait de l'ancien Rome, l'ancien Carthage et d'autres guerres qui se sont passées dans l'ancien temps de l'Antiquité. En tout cas, là, ça m'inquiète, puis je dois dire, je fais appel au sportsmanship, parce que nos services de sécurité, moi, j'ai les protocoles de réforme, puis bien sûr, la réforme des philosophies. Comme je chante du rock'n'roll pour nos frères et sœurs en uniforme, je dois chanter du rock'n'roll pour nos frères et sœurs qui prennent leur 2e et même 3e chance, puis qui changent leur vie, qui changez votre vie de couple, puis vous savez, de l'emploi, de XYZ, tout ça, c'est des choses aussi, nous, les aspis. Des fois, je suis moi-même intense, super concentré, super dedans, surtout quand je fais mes longues marches d'entraînement de danse, quand je fais de la géopolitique, quand je fais du rock'n'roll, mais j'aime pas la violence, moi. Moi, je suis quelqu'un j'aime pas la violence, je n'aime pas la violence moi-même. J'ai vécu moi-même mon traume, je me suis fait attaquer par surprise, puis je suis tombé, je connais ma tête, j'étais allé à l'hôpital général juif, j'avais le bras disloqué, j'étais tout ensanglé, fait que j'ai survécu ça. Mais je suis hyper vigilant, j'ai une hyper vigilance, parce que je vis avec cette hypervigilance, cette trompe, ces cicatrices que j'ai vécues moi-même, fait que j'aime pas la violence, je suis qui je suis, puis je fais appel à tous à soutenir mon rêve, qui est fondamentalement un appel pour un partenariat public-privé pour l'Union, bien sûr, du Canada et des États-Unis dans un partenariat public-privé, bien sûr, par l'implémentation de ma trinité de théories, que ce soit la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la théorie de la fusion démocratique. Fait que moi, qu'est-ce qui m'inquiète maintenant, bien sûr, c'est aux États-Unis, bien sûr, qu'est-ce qui m'inquiète, c'est bien sûr la situation actuelle, le déploiement de 700 Marines à Los Angeles. Fait que je dois leur dire, puis je fais appel qu'ils soient, bien sûr, de sportsmanship. Tu sais, comme au hockey, comme au hockey, tu sais, comme au football américain, moi, c'est la danse que je préfère comme sport. Moi, c'est la danse que je préfère comme sport. Moi, c'est la danse que je préfère comme sport. Moi, c'est la danse que je préfère comme sport moi-même. C'est quelque chose de bien sûr que il faut que je le fasse moi-même dans cette situation, bien sûr. Puis, avec cette condition de neurodivergence, mais moi-même, je dois vivre avec. Il n'y a pas de médicaments pour l'Asperger's, les aspis, mais on en souffre beaucoup moi-même, incluant. Puis s'il n'y a pas de médicaments, il y a juste à cause de ces mutations dans le cerveau, je dois vivre avec et toujours faire un effort vis-à-vis des autres, leur dire que le comportement ou la manière qu'on communique des fois peut paraître étrange, bizarre et socialement inadéquat ou des choses qu'on n'est pas bon, mais on est bon. Moi, je suis bon dans la géopolitique. J'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant. C'est mon royaume, c'est mon domaine. Puis qu'est-ce que je dirais je dirais en offre, là, puis Donald Trump doit le dire. Je dirais à Donald Trump, bien sûr, d'appliquer le sportsmanship. Le sportsmanship, parce que bien sûr, on doit faire nous autres aussi, tu sais, le sportsmanship, on doit l'appliquer nous aussi, hein, sportsmanship. Enfin, nos forces de sécurité, bien, qu'ils fassent l'application du sportsmanship, tu sais. Comme bien sûr, quand il y a certaines règles, fait qu'un avertissement aussi, donner des avertissements aussi, là. Comme moi, les aspis, moi, il faut me le dire directement, moi. Certaines choses, des fois, les aspis, nous, on a tendance, à cause de comment que notre cerveau est fait, puis ces mutations-là, les choses, les protocoles non écrits, là, le social, les lois non écrites, là, c'est plus difficile. Mettons l'espace personnel, on a tendance de s'approcher vraiment trop proche de la citoyenne quand on discute. Fait que nous, il faut nous le dire, hey, t'es trop proche un peu, tu peux-tu prendre une distance? Nous, c'est comme ça qu'on fonctionne parce qu'on ne sait pas, tu sais. Ces choses-là sont plus difficiles pour nous dans le comment qu'on est notre psyché, tu sais, notre psychique, la situation mentale, comment qu'on est, mais c'est sûr qu'on est différent, bien sûr, puis qu'on fasse des protocoles qu'on aille bien sûr à faire ensemble, de l'entraînement physique, que j'adore le faire, puis j'adore voir les gens qui viennent sur la montagne ici, ma deuxième maison, fait que c'est des choses de bon, bien sûr que moi-même, je dois le faire dans la situation actuelle, tu sais, dans la situation actuelle dans laquelle je vis. Et voilà. C'est la situation que je vis, c'est la situation que je suis. Bien sûr, c'est des conditions de neurodivergence et c'est des conditions de neurodivergence dans lesquelles je vis moi-même. Tu sais. Fait que bien sûr, on va voir, on va faire ces choses-là et on va faire la TRD, on va discuter de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, super important. En vous encourageant à l'entraînement physique, je dois vous encourager à écouter et vous concentrer sur cette théorie que je fais appel depuis un couple d'années de faire l'implémentation. C'est la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD qui intègre en dedans d'elle. Oh, c'est une branche qui est tombée, vous voyez, c'est pour ça que j'avertis les gens quand ils viennent ici, à cause de ces grosses branches. Quand ils tombent, là, vous êtes en risque ici, ça ferait. La TRD, c'est la solution actuelle qui peut nous sauver d'où qu'on est rendu du point de vue des finances, car on paye un intérêt énorme sur la dette publique. Sur la dette publique, on paye un intérêt énorme. L'intérêt est augmenté tellement en pourcentage, la dette publique du Canada, qu'on va devoir couper dans le budget. Je demande à mon oncle Carney qu'est-ce qu'on va couper. La GRC, la gendarmerie royale, la sanitation publique, l'armée. Et on va devoir couper des choses. C'est ça le problème, vous voyez? C'est ça le problème. C'est un gros problème, ça. Fait qu'on va devoir couper, bien sûr, dans ces choses-là. On va devoir couper, bien sûr, dans ces points de... couper dans les finances, vous voyez? À cause que, bien sûr, cette condition financière s'applique pour le Canada et les États-Unis. C'est similaire. On est dans une situation similaire. Puis bien sûr, l'augmentation de la dette, là, les cartes de crédit, là, moi j'en ai pas, j'ai une dette de 10 000 $ à la Banque royale du Canada. Fait que j'ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même, tu sais. Je n'ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même, je n'ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même, tu sais. J'ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même là-dessus. J'ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même, tu sais. J'en ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même, sincèrement. J'ai juste une dette de 10 000 $, qu'est-ce qu'on appelle une ligne de crédit. Mais les citoyens sont endettés, il y a un surendettement. Fait que parallèlement à la finance publique, il y a un surendettement, puis parallèlement aussi, des citoyens, je veux dire, parallèlement à la dette publique du canadienne, de la dette privée aussi, un surendettement. Fait que principalement, là, et bien sûr, les Canadiens et Canadiennes sont bien sûr, ils vivent un stress financier énorme. Puis l'augmentation de le coût de la vie, là, ça a augmenté encore les prix du café aussi. Le café aussi, là. Le café, c'est, tu sais, le monde qui boit du café ou la cigarette. Je sais pas que je fume pas la cigarette, moi, mais comme je parlais, les bonbons que j'ai achetés avant, j'ai dû acheter moins parce qu'ils ont augmenté de 13 cents, mais c'était 50 cents avant. Ils ont augmenté à 63 cents, mais Ça veut dire que c'est 26%, c'est beaucoup, là, 26%. Pas bien des salaires, là, 26% là, qui ont augmenté. Puis là, c'est la grève de la STM, puis une grève, mais blablabla, on doit faire l'armée de la fusion, là, c'est un centrisme pro-travail révolutionnaire. On doit faire l'implémentation de ma TRD, le Concordat pour le 21e siècle, pour les 63, les 10 provinces, 50 États et 3 territoires, parce que les États-Unis sont dans une situation similaire. Fait qu'on va devoir prendre toute la dette. On va prendre toute la... Je vous explique maintenant la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, qui intègre la théorie d'intégration monétaire, qui est la théorie que les Européens ont fait de l'implémentation dans les années 90. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, mon 10 000, ton 10 000 de côte à côte. Toute cette dette-là, on va convertir, on va faire l'addition de toute la dette publique-privée du Canada, faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Toute cette dette-là, on va faire la conversion, on va faire l'addition avec la dette publique privée des États-Unis. Et ce chiffre, tout cet argent-là, ça va donner crédit, puis ça va créditer la création d'une nouvelle banque. Une nouvelle banque, une nouvelle banque. Ça va être la créditation d'une nouvelle banque. Une nouvelle banque de l'Amérique du Nord, puis on va faire bien sûr la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. Oui. U point unité, point échange, U point universel. U point unité, point échange, U point universel. U point unité, point échange universel. L'unité d'échange universelle, on va faire la création de l'unité d'échange universelle. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée va avoir la valeur. On va ramasser, on va faire l'addition, addition ensemble. L'arithmétique, mathématique, l'addition, toute la dette publique privée incluant mon 10 000. Tout cet argent-là, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Tout cet argent-là, on va faire, bien sûr, l'addition avec la dette publique des États-Unis. On va faire l'addition avec la dette publique privée des États-Unis. Et cet argent-là, ça va faire l'argent, ça va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. Oui. U point unité, A point échange, U point universel. U point unité, A point échange universel. L'unité d'échange universelle va avoir la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. La valeur du dollar des États-Unis va avoir la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. L'unité d'échange universelle. On va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%. Ça ne pourra plus être en haut de 10. On va rebâtir l'infrastructure du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. On va finir avec la frontière. Enlever la frontière, se diriger vers la défense de côte à côte. On va faire bien sûr la création de... On va bâtir plus de centrales d'Hydro-Québec. On va financer les gens à l'entraînement physique. On va bâtir les 44 tunnels. On va bâtir les 44 tunnels. On va bâtir les 44 tunnels. On va bâtir, construire les 44 tunnels. Dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire, on va faire bien du bien commun. On va faire bâtir ces centrales. On va financer les gens au tourisme aussi, parce que moi, quand j'ai traversé le Canada, mais ça m'a fait vraiment du bien. Ça m'a fait sortir de la dépression. Puis c'est là que j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide avec le Québec, le Canada, les États-Unis. Mais vous êtes ma famille, hein? Québécois, Québécoises, Canadiens, frères et sœurs aux États-Unis. Mais je vous considère comme une famille. Mais c'est sûr que maintenant, mon stress est financièrement. J'ai un stress financier, mais j'ai des gaufres chez nous. Des gaufres! J'ai des gaufres, fait que je suis bonne humeur avec les gaufres. Quand j'arrive chez nous, ça va être mon petit collation. Après, ma petite collation après avoir fait de l'entraînement physique de 1,25 €. Ils ont augmenté de 25 cents, mais ça équivaut à 25%. Moi, je ne veux pas rentrer dans ça. Je continue avec la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Donc, toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire de la refusion. Toute cette dette-là, on va faire ensemble. Tout cet argent-là, ça va fonder ensemble une monnaie. Et bien sûr, on va faire la U point unité, point échange universel. À travers les 63, on va faire la création d'un passeport commun. Un passeport commun Canada et États-Unis. On va faire la fondation des deux institutions de partenariat public-privé, soit l'armée de la déesse qui danse, la Ligue de danse intégrée de l'Amérique du Nord pour l'environnement, parallèlement à l'armée du dragon. L'armée du dragon pour la SSD seulement, puis pour baser sur mes nouveaux protocoles de défense 9.1 intégrés de l'Amérique du Nord pour la sécurité totale, défense totale, service total, SSD, sécurité, service, défense, juste par ces trois principes. Et en parenthèse, mais quand ça vient en situation d'urgence, comme on voit les feux, sont arrivés en Ontario, fait que je dois saluer les pompiers avec amour, les pompiers d'ici, de Montréal, puis du Québec, du Canada, du Collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, puis bien sûr ceux qui sont en Manitoba, en Saskatchewan, je dois envoyer un peu de rock'n'roll d'amour, puis bien sûr en créant, bien sûr, l'armée du dragon. L'armée du dragon va pouvoir faire du bien commun dans cet environnement où qu'on soit rendu ici, bien sûr. Pour faire la TRD, c'est quelque chose qui ça requiert qu'on fasse le plus tôt possible la création de cette nouvelle monnaie par l'implémentation de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Super important. Ça presse, c'est urgent. On est dans une situation d'urgence. C'est possible que même aujourd'hui, ou sinon demain en pleine lune, un effondrement financier débute, commence. C'est fort probable. Hein? C'est quelque chose qui peut arriver. Hein? C'est quelque chose qui peut arriver. Hein? C'est quelque chose qui peut arriver dans cette circonstance, qu'on soit bien sûr de ces points de convergence qu'on est rendu aujourd'hui. Hein? Comme je vous ai dit, la dette, on ne peut pas soutenir ça. On va devoir couper dans le budget énormément, là, dans la dette publique du Canada. Là. C'est pour ça. C'est important de faire le plus tôt possible l'implémentation de ma théorie R, refusion de la dette. Puis ça prend un partenariat public-privé, bien sûr. On va finir avec la frontière. Ça ne sert plus à rien, la frontière. Il faut être réaliste. Hein? Le roi est absent. Puis le roi est absent, c'est le temps pour la fusion avec les États-Unis, puis pour qu'on fasse ces nouveaux compromis. Je suis loin d'être un partisan de Donald Trump. Vous savez, j'aurais voté Kamala Biden ou même Bernie Sanders. Je suis un centriste, par exemple, pro-universel, pro-révolutionnaire universel, mais mon centrisme, il est centré sur le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord et tous ceux qui viennent nous rejoindre parce qu'on est un collectif émergent. Tu sais. Ici, on a fait le grand compromis du français linguistique, on continue à le faire, comme, tu sais, Justin Trudeau il a donné des millions, une couple de millions pour le français avant de partir un couple de mois, là, 1 an et demi, je pense, 2 ans déjà peut-être. Mais ça a fait bien sûr quelque chose, hein, ça a fait bien sûr quelque chose, là, que ce soit qui a fait cette implémentation-là, d'avoir fait tout ce travail pour le français. Mais moi, je dois le faire aussi hein, en tant qu'individu, parce que moi, je dois encourager les gens aussi, puis ils font un effort, je dois leur apprécier qu'ils fassent un effort. Si je le fais pas, moi, puis des fois, c'est difficile, hein, on peut le doigt de se mettre dans la place des gens, certains gens, mais c'est plus difficile, le français, ça dépend de quel âge qu'ils sont, mais s'ils font un effort, mais il faut encourager l'effort aussi. Moi, je suis aspi, mais nous, on est mal compris beaucoup, j'ai souffert beaucoup. La perte d'emploi, bien, c'est très élevé chez nous, hein, chez ma communauté qui est encore une petite minorité de communauté de 0,44%. Il n'y a pas beaucoup d'Asperger's dans le monde, mais c'est pas une maladie mentale. J'ai mes forces, j'ai mes compétences, mais dans certaines choses, je suis médiocre moi-même. Certaines choses, je suis médiocre. Fait que certaines choses, j'ai de la misère, tu sais, absolument. Dans certaines choses, j'ai de la misère. Fait que je dois le faire moi-même dans ce petit compromis ici qu'on fait, bien sûr, de la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il faut qu'on fasse, bien sûr, le compromis de linguistique. Et il faut bien sûr que je m'étire un peu, puis je vais dire pour les cadences qu'on fasse, bien sûr, dans le système de la cadence ici pour avoir de l'entraînement physique. On va faire cadence. Get ready for that cadence. Cadence, cadence. Get ready for that cadence. Get ready for that cadence. Get ready for the Dragonomic cadence. Pledge your allegiance. As we go on the boots. Gotta get it on the boots. Let's go Dragonomic cadence. Create a freestyle mode here at Hawk Island, Montreal. Gotta get it for the Hawk Island, Montreal for that, and that's so we gotta get drilling on that, and so we gotta get doing on that cadence, and we gotta get zip and zap, and that's what we're gonna get doing on that rock and roll with that, and that's what we're gonna get doing for the rock and roll, and we gotta get doing for the hit, for the blessed, for the left, for the right, and in the center. For the hits. This is a hits. H-I-T. This is a hit. Dragonomic cadence hit. Rock and roll 24/7 for the butchers, bakers, nurses. Dragonomic cadence. Get ready. Property of the Dragonomic utilize. Use only if you're an ally and army. Let's get ready for the cadence. This is the sentence. Gotta play that sportsmanship. With fellow citizens, civilians yet. Let's go Dragon Army Fuse, 7th Army of the USA, all included Canada, for the 63, the SSD, 10 provinces, 50 states, 3 territories, admission to the new union, admission for the new union, Hey, north and south, free and strong and liberty. Got a kiss and rainbow dragon hiss. For the farmers and the butchers, electricians and the plumbers. Gotta get some dragging on us. For the left and for the right. Yeah, we know we dragging on me tight. For the right and for the left. Yeah, you know that we a bet. Left and right and in the set. You know that we rock and roll. For the truckers on the road. And you know we hiss and kiss. And you know we army dip. Dragging on me, who we be. For the S and for the S and for the D. Dragging on me, who we be. For the S and for the S and for the D. SSD, security, service and defense. Dragging on me, who we be. Dragging on me, who we be. Dragging on me, who we be. For the S and for the S and for the D. In the sun, that's you and me. In the sun, that's you and me. For the S and for the S and for the D. We're gonna switch a shadow love. Let's go left and right. Gotta give it so we tight. Get some push-ups and some squats. Get some push-ups and some squats. You know that we eat a lot. Get some push-ups and some squats. Get some push-ups and some squats. You know that we eat a lot. Or not. Gotta get it for the left. Gotta get it for the right. Gotta get it for the left and the right. Gotta get it for the left, for the right and in the sight. Gotta get it for the left. Gotta get it for the right and in the left. Gotta get it so you see. Gotta get it so you be. Gotta get it so you be. Gotta get it so you be. Gotta get it left and right. Prudence that we army tight. In the left and in the right. Gotta left and right we bite. Gotta left and right we bite. And another rock and roll for the truckers on the road. For the truckers on the road. Bakers, butchers, electricians. Farmers, nurses, doctors, plumbers. Gotta give us so they hum us. Hum us. Not the edible kind, but like a humming, you know. Hey, some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are black, white. Some of my dragons are black, white. Some of my dragons are white, black. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Gotta see it for the S's. Gotta be and give blessings. For the construction workers, gotta clap it. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Montreal to San Francisco. Hey, skyscrapers, look at that. That's my favorite skyscraper there. My favorite skyscraper. Hey, look at that beauty. I need to build more, rebuild, build. And the North American Collectif. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Get on need some magic potion. Gotta get it, let some splits. for the magic potion hits. Gotta get it for the left. Truckers on the road, you can see the mountains, that's let's go. And the mountains, that's a go. Mountains, that's that rock and roll. On the potion in the lotion, we the dragon army soldiers. Gotta get it for the right, gotta get it for the left, gotta get it on the side, gotta get it up and down, hey. Gotta go this sort of sounds, gotta get it for the left, left and right and up and right, gotta get it left and side. Hey, for the lovers, butchers, plumbers, lovers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, electricians, bakers, bakers, cooks, and firefighters, bakers, cooks, and firefighters, bakers, cooks, and firefighters. Bakers, cooks, and firefighters. Gotta get it, love and see. Gotta give it, love and be. Gotta give it, love and see. Gotta give it for the left. Gotta give it for the sets. Gotta give it left and best. Left and best, and gotta do is. Gotta get it, none who is. And bury me up Crawley up in New Jersey. Bury me up in Crawley, New Jersey. A third of me, city of the pyramids, a third of me here on the back of the Mount Royal where we were. Where I love those sticks there. They look a bit canine-like. That's what it is, and that's what I got. Let's go. Hey, from the valleys and the mountains and the rivers. Rivers, mountains, and the valleys. You gotta bury me with Papa Crowley. Gotta get it for the cadence. Hey, you know we got that dragon army cadence, that's the sentence. Some of my dragons are white black, some of my dragons are black white. Hey, some of my dragons are dragonesses. Gotta give it so you stress it. Gotta give it so you leftists. Hey, for the left and for the right, in the middle, that's the right. Left and right and on the side. See steel toes and in the sandals. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Montreal to San Francisco. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Montreal to San Francisco. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Montreal to San Francisco. Gotta get it for the lotion. Potions. Gotta watch the steps and muddied. Gotta watch the steps and muddied. Gotta watch the steps and muddied. Bloodied in the blooded goose. Bloodied in the blooded goose. Hey, I don't see nobody's goose. I don't see nobody's goose. Let me be up in the freezer. Let me be up in the freezer. So you know we got a plummet. And you know we doctors love it. And you know we see love it. Gotta turn it here. Up and down, you know we go. Another round up in hello. Up and down the stairs. And the foot in the middle. Up and down the stairs. And the foot in the middle. Up and down the stairs. And the foot in the middle. Up and down the stairs. With a foot in the middle. Up and down the stairs. With a foot in the middle. Gotta go there so you know. Gotta go and say hello. Gotta left and right we go. And gotta left and right we toe. On the toes and on the go. On the left up in the go. On the left and right we see beautiful flowers dancing harmony. That would be up in the bee. Gotta give up in the seas. Electricians and the plumbers. Hello to the firefighters. Nurses in the day get changing diapers. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta go lifting the potion. Let's go left and right, we high. High up in the satellite skies. high on life, you know, high on life, high on these cadence, get high on them, but only if that legal cannabis, or just get high by listening to the cadence and doing some push-ups and knowing that pledge your allegiance, legions, we're family. Here at the top of the Belvedere, Konjanak and headquarters of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. Here we are. Beautiful. Gotta add the other flag and a new flag for the 63 with 63 stars, and you know, for the state, different states, and 63, the dragon army. Nobody's born a dragon, you become one. Cadence, and here we are gonna get that hydration, and I gotta admire the workers, how they did it to build, you know, all the buildings that they did here to build the hydration here. That's what we love. So we gotta get that rock and roll here for the cadence. So we got it on the doers and the bakers, and here's another place of the city where you can see a little bit, and I guess you can see a lot, and those are the mountains, and this is here the hot out of Montreal, and that's what we gotta get doing. That's my favorite skyscraper there, and that is skyscraper which I love there. See? The island surrounded by a big river. That's what we gotta get doing here for the 63, and see there. It's probably where the borders are. We could probably see the borders. I guess Vermont, Maine, New York. We don't see all the way to New York, but Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire is down there somewhere. So we need to get rid of the border. Get rid of that border fast and unite, fuse, and get rock and rolling, you know. Make some compromise, make some deals, and let's go. Get it on the love, and gotta go all the way to sun. Gotta get that rock and roll, and we gotta get doing and get doing for the beautiful place here, and gotta get on the lovers and the butchers and the bakers, the nurses, fires, plumbers, electricians, and here we are again, that cadence. So we're gonna continue, and we got the city there. I guess we can finish with some push-ups. I'm gonna finish with some push-ups here, and that's gonna be the finishing cadence right here. I guess towards the sun, you know, some push-ups towards the sun, and good, and that's how we're gonna be rock and rolling, man. Finish with some push-ups, you know. So we're gonna get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get doing, you know. So we're gonna get doing that. Dragging on the cadence. Let's go. Some push-ups. Yes, we're gonna do some sets. Dragging on the cadence, do a little bit of stretching, and do a little bit of that stretch. Gotta watch it because there's a little bit of wind. So we're gonna get on that windy side of things and get it on the go, and that's how we're gonna get doing on that. And you're gonna XYZ it, and you're gonna do on that XYZ, and we're gonna get on the love side of things. And so we're gonna get doing, you know, XYZ, and you know, so it's something which we gotta do, and so we're gonna get doing, man. Drilling a bit and with those hips and left and right just like that, and that's what we're gonna get doing with that. And so we're gonna get doing, you know. So we're gonna get doing with that rock and roll stuff. Get on those drills, you know. Oh yeah, let's do it. So we gotta get doing on that. Gotta get on that love, man. You know. Let's go for the 11. gotta get doing, man.